Okay, so in our last class, we talked about writing tests for our. Okay, so we wrote another test for testing. Owner is message or sender. All right, we tested that. Okay, and then we used some tricks in testing it. Okay, so we learned about um we wrote scripts. We wrote the scripts to deploy our funding contract. Okay, so that is what we did in our last class. All right. So today we are still going to be talking about testing. Now it's very important to test your contract. It's very important that you test your contract. All right. It's very important that your test coverage is approved minimum. All right. Still going to be talking about test coverage and so on and so forth. All right. Okay, so let us test. Remember in our last class, while we were testing, we ran into a warning. And that warning was because uh, our price our aggregator interface, the contract here, all right, the contract address here is not um in sync with it doesn't belong to the local blockchain that we are deploying to. Remember, when we deploy to a blockchain and we don't specify the blockchain, automatically we are deploying to Anvil blockchain, all right, the Foundry local blockchain. All right, so that's what happens. Now, this contract here, this contract here we are using for our aggregator interface, it's Sepolia address, which um the our local blockchain doesn't understand, doesn't know. So in that to it, that this particular line is invalid. Okay, so that's why it flags it to us as warning. So today we are going to be learning how to test how to test our contracts on our local blockchain, and then with still this address, and then fixing the problem. All right, so what we are going to be doing, like we are going to be testing this. I'm going to be writing a test. Let me write this test. So we want to test the get version. All right, this one. Yes, all right, this one. We want to test this one, this get version. Okay, so now remember that this. All right, so write our function. We'll call it test price. All right, deal. And then probably you know what we are going to be doing here. All right, remember that this place we have the version here, this price fit version equals to this unit. You understand this integer here. All right, so this guy is equal to this guy. You get it? So we're going to come back to this place and say that here in 256, which is version, is equal to only dot get version. All right, now let's see in our, if you deploy this, okay, this is get version. All right. All right, so this is what we are testing. Okay, that's why we are having fundme.get version. This fundme belongs to this fundme contract. All right, so come down and say that assert q in brackets version, comma. When we tested that version in fundme, then it was 4. All right, so just leave it as 4. Okay, and then so let's run a test for this. Let's run a test for this and see if it's going to work. Okay, so for us to run a test, we'll say forge tests, and then now normally we say forge test, and then we do this. Okay, let me use for. All right, so normally we say forge test, and then we'll do this. When we use this command line, we are testing everything together. All the functions that we've written, all the test functions that we're written is going to test everything together. All right, but we don't want to test everything. We just want to test this function, this test price feed function, version is accurate function. All right, so this is the only function we want to test. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we do that? Are you with me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me see your hand up. Okay. So Chidara, you can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So how do we test this contract? Okay, how do we test just that function without testing
So my hand is not
everything?
raising up.
All right, I understand. So how do we test um the last function we just wrote without testing everything together? All right, how do we test just that one without testing everything together? So what we're going to do is that we're going to use this command um, match, all right, and then test. Okay, so in case this doesn't work for you, you can use empty. Now this empty will not work for Windows. I believe it will work um for those with MacBook. So let's just go back to my Windows command. So this is going to be match and then tests. Okay, so we want to test this guy. Definitely I'm going to be running into error, but let's just I want us to go through it one after the other. So we want to test just this guy, and then let's use 4. Then let me go. All right, so let's wait for the outcome. Okay, so all right, so we ran into a test. Sorry, a revert. All right, we ran into a revert. Okay, so why did we run into a revert? All right, you see that we have fund meters set up. This. So why did we run into a problem? Okay. Okay, so let's look at it. So why do we run into a problem? We run into a problem because of these are version. All right. So sorry, not version. These are contract here. This guy. Now this version, this same guy that we've always been having problem with. All right. So this is where our problem is coming from. That is why our contracts, our testing has been reverting. Okay. Remember it warned us in our previous testing. All right. So that's why we are having this error because of this. Now, for the sake of this class, for you to actually run a test to even come to this level where we'll be having this kind of revert. All right. For you to run this kind of test, you cannot run a test, you understand, with this. You can't run a test with this. All right. You can't run a test with this. Remember, this is the get, this is the get version. You can't run a test on this. Why? Because first of all, the visibility is internal. All right. You can't call this outside this contract. Okay. So for you to test this get version function, you have to write a getter function for it. Remember what we did when we wrote this what we did this test owner is message of sender. If the if it is not visible, you have to write a getter function for it. All right, and so in our contracts here, we wrote a getter function for get version, which is this. All right, so this is the getter function we wrote, which is to get price feed version. All right, so this is the getter function we wrote for us to be able to test it outside here. All right, get if we had, let's say for example, we had muted this guy, right, and we come and run a test. Yes. Come in, let me save it. All right, let me save these changes. So if we come here now and run the same stuff, the same command, all right, we'll have a different error. Now you see that the error we got here is different from the error we got here. All right, the error we got here is that the member get version not found or not visible after argument dependent lookup in contract fund me. Okay, so we are calling from this contract. All right, so it is not here or it is not visible. So for it to be tested, it has to be visible first of all, and then secondly, it has to be in the getter function. It has to be functioning. You understand? It has to be functioning. So just come back and undo this guy. All right, so that we can, let me save this. All right, so let's go back to our previous error. All right, so if we run this now, we'll see that we don't have this version, fund me, whatever error. We have a different error. We're going to be having a different error. And this error is going to be because of our the contract address we are using. Remember I said earlier that when you deploy your contract, the contract is deployed on the local blockchain. All right. It's deployed on the local blockchain of Foundry that Foundry offers, and that's Anvil. Okay. We've used that before. So now what we are using here is the um Sepolia testnet. We are using the Sepolia testnet contract address. All right. Sepolia testnet address. Okay, remember what we did while we writing fund me contract in our remis environment. All right, that's how we got our price feed and all that. We use the Sepolia environment, Sepolia testnet environment for getting price, real data, price data, and all that and all that. And which is different from Anvil blockchain. I'm just reiterating it so that we understand why we're having this error and why we are going to be doing what we are going to be doing. Okay, so what are we going to do differently to handle this case? All right, so there are different kind of testing. All right, so there are different kind of testing which we are going to be talking about in the course of this class. All right, so let me just show it to us. So sorry, I think I'm having network. I'm having network slow down. All right, we have um different types of testing. We have the unit testing, we have the fork testing, we have the staging. All right. Okay, so we're going to be looking at them one after the other. Just let me bring back my screen. I think I mistakenly closed the tab. I shouldn't close. Excuse me, please. Let me paste it to our environment so that we can see it ourselves. All right, so before I paste it, all right, so we have these four types of testing. We have the unit testing. All right, so the unit testing is testing a particular piece of code. All right, testing a particular portion of code. All right, let me show us. So let's see. Okay, so we have the unit testing, we have the integration testing, we have the fork testing, and we have the staging. All right, so the unit testing is testing a specific part of our code, like I said earlier. Integration testing is testing how our code works with other parts of the code. And then fork testing test our code on simulated real environments like test nets. All right. And then the stage testing is testing our code in real environment that is not production environment. All right. That is not the real market. Okay. So what's the difference between these types of test? So the unit testing is what we've done. All right. I think the unit testing and the integration testing, they are similar. The difference is that um when we tested this line of code, this minimum dollar is 5, message or sender and all that, that's unit testing. All right, so we are testing just this part of the code. Okay, we are testing just this part of the code. And then integration testing, like how testing our code works with other parts of our code, like other parts of the code as well. Okay, like what we're trying to do with this test price feed version is also a form of integration testing. Okay, so we have the fork testing, testing our code on a simulated real environment. All right, so that's what we are going to be doing right now. All right, for us to bypass this problem. Okay, remember this is a Sepolia testnet, Sepolia address that is on our contract. Okay, and we are deploying it on a Handview local blockchain, which is two different things altogether. So for us to be able to deploy a Sepolia um, contract on a local Anvil blockchain, we have to do what they call fork testing. That means we have to simulate the Sepolia environment on the Anvil blockchain. So your local blockchain is going to act like the Sepolia environment and deploy your contracts. Okay, so that's the fork testing. That's the forking. Like it's going to act like you are deploying on the Sepolia testnet. Okay, so enough of the talking. So let's see how it really works. All right, so let's see how it works. So how you're gonna do it? It's very simple. We come up this same this same testing, but this time what you're going to do is that you're going to be adding the you're going to be adding the fork URL, and then you're going to be putting the API key of the blockchain you are trying to simulate, or you're trying to fork, or you're trying to emulate. All right, all together. So this is the syntax. This just was different. Just this this guy, just this guy. That's it. Okay, so let's make use of it and see how it works. All right. So remember what we did in our environment. Okay, so let me just okay. So if we come to uh our alchemy, all right. If you come to our alchemy, remember alchemy, the one we use in deploying to Sepolia testnet. Okay. All right. So if you come to your network, okay, come to your network and then you will change this from mainnet to Sepolia because it was Sepolia testnet. All right, so we'll copy this key. Remember, that's what we use in our last time. So we'll copy this key and then we'll come to uh and then paste it here. Okay, so this is the URL we are simulating. All right, this URL we are simulating, and then so that our AMV acts like as a polyar testnet. Okay, so I think this. All right, so let me. Just let's just wait for it to finish. Okay, so we're still on it. All right, so you see that it gave us this warning, but it still passed. All right, it gave us this warning, but it still passed. I don't know if you understand. So it gave us this warning that, oh, normally before it's going to give us the warning and then it's going to revert.
Hello. Hope Mr. Samuel is not back and it's my network, but I'm not seeing him.
All right, sorry. So sorry for that. I'm really really sorry. I'm having a very bad network. I mean, very very bad network. Okay, so I don't even know where I stopped. I think I've been talking to myself for more than a minute or so.
So
Okay.
I've been up for more than almost 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or let's say 15.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So um, I don't even know where we are now. Okay. So let's, like as I was saying, I said that I don't know where we stopped, but let me just start all over again. No, not really start all over again, but let me um start from where I think I ended. So I said that if you for you to deploy this contract because but you know where I said that you cannot test from your price converter that you because of the visibility that you always write a getter function. All right, so if you are testing anything that is not in your contract or in your contract that does not have it's not public, all right, or it's not accessible, you should write a getter function for it. Like this is get version, all right. If see here it's internal, that means we can't call it outside this contract. But here we are writing a getter function for it so that it can be accessible. That's when we can write a test for it. I see that we are having a get function here, version here. We are calling this get version, not this get version. Okay, so
Are
that
you
is
sharing
that.
your screen?
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I've been sharing my screen all this while. My God, these are messy upon me. Okay, so I was saying that when you are writing a test, okay, like we're writing a test for this feed price feed version, you see that we are calling get version dot fundme. The get version is not this get version, all right? It's not this get version, it's this get version, all right? This one that's public, because this one is not public, this one is internal. That means cannot be called outside this contract. Okay, so all right, so let's write our test. Let's say that for us to test it, we have to you test, right? The in the fuck test and this. Okay, I have talked about fully edits. Okay, so um this type of test got to we got to understand this. Huh? Is HTTPS URL. I mean, do you understand how it's the
So I'm not seeing your screen. Oh, I don't know if it's my own network.
hmm?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Mr. Samuel?
Someone should put your mouth. Someone should speak.
I'm talking, but you cannot hear me. My network is not good.
My thing
Can you hear me, Mr. Samuel?
are we together?
Mr. Samuel, can you hear me?
Huh?
Mr. Samuel, can you hear me?
Nobody saying anything.
I'm, I'm talking, but you are not hearing me. Sir, I'm here. We're hearing, like, we cannot. Your voice is breaking. You are the one that is not hearing us. Ah, Ogbe o. Oyin Damola.
Alpha.
You will talk that it maybe it's my own network.
No, no, not your network. I can hear you.
Ah, you tell me should leave part of that place to stay.
You should stop using that mobile.
It's Airtel. Airtel people don't have network. There's no network. I'm trying. If my MTN do small, if I switch to my Airtel, it's not even coming
Even my
out
MTN
once.
sef, network these days is bad. Even my MTN sef has been showing me shege since like 3 days now. I don't understand.
It's not strong, but at least it's better than Airtel. Airtel is
Well,
one.
it is well with our souls.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Network has been against me today.
I
I'm
said
sorry.
we said that we were not seeing your screen. Number one, and you were not
Okay.
hearing us. We were hearing you, but you were not hearing us.
Okay. Mo. Can you hear me now? Hmm?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so let me share my screen. But do you understand how we got that? Let me share my screen so I don't talk to myself again. Can you see my screen? Ah,
Yes, sir.
okay. So okay. So do you understand how we got this line, this HTTPS Sepolia URL?
That's the URL for the alchemy now.
Exactly. Good. Very well. So if we run this, I don't know if we've run this before. So if we run this, okay. Unfortunately, everything I'm going to be doing is based on network. So since network is very slow, we're going to be having a very slow output. So let us see. Okay, so you see that we don't have any warning. All right, so everything went very well. Okay, we're still having that warning that time because of network. So we don't have any warning. Everything went well. All right, and you see that when we come to our previous this thing, we're having reverts. All right, we're having a revert because of our contract address, the one we're using for to get our price. All right, so you see that everything is passing very well. Okay, so if we run our coverage, if we run our coverage, let me raise it up. This where I was before network went bizarre. So if we run this forge coverage and this guy, all right, let me, okay, so let's wait. All right, so you see that we have these statistics that has been given to us. Okay, you see that 1, 2, 3 tests that we wrote, 1, 2, and 3 tests that we wrote. All of them passed. Okay, we ran 3 tests. Okay, all 3 tests. These are the 3 tests that we wrote. The test minimum dollar, test owner is messenger, test and all that. And these are the gas fees that we needed to test. All right. And then we come to this place where we have these files and the tests. So these are the lines of code that we've tested. Okay, this is statements, there's the branches, and there's the functions. All right. So in the fund me contracts, okay, so we've tested 23% of it. All right. For the functionality, tested um 3 out of 6, 50% of it. Okay. Now you do as much as possible to you make sure as much as possible to make sure that your 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 this thing is above average. Your testing this should be, if not 100, should be above average, should be 70, 80, 100, should be 100, should be highest possible you can do. All right, your testing should be highest possible you can do. This guy should be not be ready. You see, oh yeah, everything is ready here because we've not done most of the testing. We just tested 3 of these guys, tested 3 of the functionalities, okay? And out of 3 functionalities in this contract, in these fund me contracts, okay, these are fund me contracts. Okay, this is a line for your fund me contracts. We only tested 3 out of 4 functionalities, okay? Out of the 4 functions that we wrote, 6 functions that we wrote, these 3 we've tested 3. All right, and script deploy, done no testing on it. Price converter will run just one test on it. Okay, so this just 12% tested, 23% tested, and then the total of this our contracts, everything here has just have 16% tested, which is very very poor. All right, for the sake of this class, we might not be doing optimally, but in your own personal time, you can take it upon yourself and try to see if you can push it higher as much as possible. I'll be very glad if you come to my DM showing me something like this and said, "This is what I have done, and this is my output. What do you think, or what do you say, or what do you think about it?" I'll be very glad to see you push it higher. All right. So that's it for our our testing. So if we come to our alchemy, if we come to our alchemy and then come to this request log, you see that every time that we we
So where are you seeing request log from?
okay, if you come, can you see my mouse pointer? Huh? Come
Yes,
to
sir.
the right. Yes, you see usage, you see request logs. All right, so if you come to request log and enter, you're going to see all our request logs here. Okay, so
So I'm not seeing anything. No.
you can see
You say if I come here, I'll see you.
if you've done something. Okay, the reason why, can you see anything on my screen?
All the things I'm seeing there, I'm not seeing request log.
Christabel, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Afolabi, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Now,
Chidera, eh?
I can see it now, but how did you navigate to this request log? That's what I'm asking.
For the last time. come to this right side, you'll see usage, you'll see request logs. Okay, if you click on the request log, you're going to see all the request logs here. Let me go back again. All right, fast one. All right, so you're going to see all the request logs here. Okay, we did that stuff. It's 8 minutes past 7. That's when we tested our stuff, and this is what we see. Okay, these are request log to our node. All right, so you see that there's an activity going on. So you see that it's very recent. All right, so you see that although this guy is Anvil blockchain, but it's simulating our Sepolia testnet, okay, to deploy our contracts on the Sepolia blockchain. So it's sending requests to the blockchain, but it's building it on the Anvil blockchain, compiling it on the Anvil blockchain. Excuse me. Do we understand? Do we understand? Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's that for that. Okay, so I now, but there's another challenge. So our challenge and the challenge is that our code is restrictive. Our code is so uptight. All right. Why did I say our code is too uptight? Because if you come to this place, you'll see that it is just Sepolia is that you can only be deploying to Sepolia testnet. Sorry, it's only the Sepolia chain that you can only be deploying to. You can't deploy to any other chain. You can only deploy this contract to Sepolia chain. Why? Because we have outcoded our contract here. All right, we've outcoded it here. So if we want to change to another chain, all right, so we have to, let's say we want to change to Ethereum minutes. Okay, let's say we want to change to Ethereum minutes. We'll have to now come and let me go back. Okay, let's say we want to change to Ethereum minutes. We'll have to now come here, and then change to the Ethereum minutes, copy this guy, and then always going to be changing our stores with the Ethereum, changing our contract address. All right, we'll always be changing our contract address. You get, so at coding it every time we want to change. You understand? Always editing our our contracts, which is not fair. So before I move on, I want to say that it's not every time you fork test your contract. It's not every time you run a fork test on your contract. Why? Because running a fork test on your contract every time, if you are doing a multiple testing, is going to cost you. Okay. Nevertheless, there are still some testing that you must do as fork tests. Okay. So, but as much as possible, you should do it when needed. And um, if it is not necessary, if it's not important, don't use fork testing. Okay. So back to our gist, back to what we're saying. All right. Back to our gist and back to what we're saying. So I was saying that we don't need to always be at coding our contracts. excuse me, we don't need to always be at coding our contracts. Here, we just need to, let me go back to phone me. All right, we want to refactor our contracts. Okay, we want to refactor our contracts so that what we are going to be doing is that so that when we want to deploy our contracts, before we deploy our contracts, they will ask us for the price feed address. What price feed are we picking? Which coin, or let's say which network on a layman language? Yeah, which network, which coin are we getting the price for? Remember, the only thing that makes this contract one thing that makes this contract very unique is that it gets price from real world data. All right, from real world, it gets price from real world using protocol. We've talked about this before, using a protocol. We talked about this before. All right, so that's why it is very unique. All right, it's very, very unique. So it has to be connecting to a particular source to get that particular price feed. So when you want to deploy the contract, it's going to ask you, okay, what price feed are you getting today? What price feed are you getting in deploying this contract? Okay, you could say that I want to get that of Ethereum mainnet. You want to say I want to get that of Sepolia mainnet. You want to say I want to get that of whatever um, network you wish to use. Is going to be very flexible. So that is what we want to do up next. We want to refactor our contracts. All right. We want to refactor our contract so that we can do that. First of all, okay, so I will just change this guy to funny underscore underscore. Sorry, underscore. Okay, the reason why I'm naming my error like this so that I think I've mentioned this before in our previous class, so that we can actually track where the error is coming from. So if we have an error, we can say, oh, this error is coming from fund me contracts. All right. You get, so it's going to be very fund me contracts. So this error is from fund me contracts. So it's not just going to be like one random error. Yes. You want to say something?
No, sir.
Okay. So we're going to want to make sure that we always get that input. You know that if we want to do that, the first thing we are to do is to get it here. Understand? We are to get it here as address. All right. The address is going to be price feed. I hope you understand this. Okay. Remember, like I said, that we want our price feed contracts to be dynamic. Okay, we don't want it to be this rigid where like this one is just see, this is just this contract address, it's just this price feed you are getting. So even if we deploy this contract 10 times, we are going to be still using this, except we'll come and manually copy this in the code and change it. You understand? So we want to change that. That's why we're changing this price feed. Understand? Change this price feed. So okay, yeah. So we'll come here and then we have this input here so that while we are putting it as an input in this constructor, so that before we deploy the contract, remember we said that constructors instantiate what our contracts. So the constructor will work first before the contract will run. Okay, I think you understand this very well. So we'll come to our storage variables where we keep our storage variables. All right. And then we can say aggregator. All right, so they've already given it to us. All right, so say that's aggregator. Um, okay, let's name it this guy. X address. No, 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 no. Price feed. Let's call it price. Price feed, not address. Price feed. All right, so we are going to make this guy public, private, because we don't want any eyes to see it. Okay, so come here and then let's have it here. Okay, we're going to say that our X price feed is equal to our aggregator price. Aggregator and then price feed. Okay, so all right, so we are going to come to our gets. Here we. Okay, we're going to come to our get version. We're going to delete this guy. Yeah. All right. So we're going to delete that guy and oh. All right. Since we are going to put this guy here, price. All right. Any error we have here, we are going to sort it out. Okay. So any error we have here, we are going to sort it out. Okay, we are coming to our get price, and then we're going to delete this guy. All right. Okay, so we're going to delete that guy and so what else? Come to our price conversion. Okay, so you see that in our price conversion, we are getting the price. All right, so get price from this guy. All right, so what price are we getting? Excuse me. Okay, so this place will be price each. All right. So where else I was supposed to put price feed? Okay, I'm coming. We are though we are still factoring. Let me look at this. Let me clear my red lines. Okay, so I'm coming. Let me see. Okay, so any error we have today, we'll fix it to fix it. Coming. Let me fix that. Okay, so this function gets price. Okay, so we are going to leave that. Let me come back to our phone make contracts. All right, so okay, so alligator interface. I think I should install it here. Let me just look at it. Okay, let me look at it line by line. Okay, so that I will remove this line here, this red line here. So this gets, let's start from here. Let's get version. Wow. think that was what I did there. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. Let me. Haven't done that. All right. Price converter. Get price. Yes, you get price. Let me get price. So I'm going to. So I'm going to get this as an input. So this guy is going to be. So what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Mm, okay, so let me add my price feed as well. Okay, so okay as an input. Mm, okay. So what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Let me look at this guy very well. Okay, so my guys are set, and so let me sort this guy. Pause is having. Okay, then we can send the file, not found. Unique. Enter the file, not found, and not unique. So okay, that means I'm going to be importing this guy from here. Should I? Let me copy. Save. All right, bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, bear with me. I just thought I needed to teach us this. I have not tested this code before this class. Okay, so bear with me. Once I'm done, I'm going to definitely put us through what I'm doing right now. Okay, I think I've solved that problem. Okay, so let me see this guy. All right, let me see. Alexa did not mean price. Do you mean price speed? Okay, so let me sort this guy out. What could be the problem here? Um, okay, so it will just be return. The version. All right. Okay. Version. Right. So what else? What else? What else? What else? So if I this price will still gonna give me an error and for this guy. All right. I'm fixing my errors bit by bit. Okay. All right. Get price. If conversion equals to price speed. Okay. And then we are okay. We are returning this. Right, and then get price. Returning this. Okay, and then this guy will returning this. Okay, what else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, so we're supposed to be good to go except this line. Right, so that's how we save this. That's how we call this one. Yes. Yes. Price speed equals to price speed. So what is this one? Okay, so let me just build and see. Definitely I'm going to run into error, but let me just build and see. Okay, so in my tests, no, let me, first of all, let me change this to deploy. So let me first of all go to deploy. So in my script, all right, I'll change this guy to, okay, so this is where we are going to be putting our, where did I put that contract address at time? Is the contract address? Oh, I've deleted it too. Okay, so then I'm bring it back. So let me just say it here. So this is where we're going to put our, let me put it here like this. Yeah, we're going to put our contract address. All right. Okay, yeah, we're going to put our contract address here and then run a test. Okay, so here we are going to return on. Okay, here we're going to return funny and okay, so what have I done so far, or what am I trying to do so far? So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to create a system where this price feed, okay, so this price feed, we don't have to put the price feed and code the price feed again in our code. All I have to do is that we get this price feed in the state, in the place of deploying the contract. So when you want to deploy the contract, it's going to ask you for the site, for the um price feed contract. Okay, which price feed are you trying to get? Which when you get the price feed, it's invariably saying that you are getting the coin itself, or the network type. Let's say like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Avalanche or Arbitrum, or any of these contracts, any of these coins or networks. If you get their price feed, let's say you get Ethereum price feed mainnet, that means you are using Ethereum mainnet. If you are getting avalanche price feed, that means you are using avalanche for the fund me. Okay, and what network of avalanche are you using? It's also there. So we are not going to be at coding it. All right, we are going to be getting it. Okay, so I can't continue in fixing this guy now because of our time, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. In our next class, we are going to continue from here. All right, in our next class we are going to continue from here. I'm going to, okay, henceforth, to enable us to be following, I'll be posting notes on our classes. Okay, so after every class I'll be posting notes after every class. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch this code. Okay, till our next class, and then i'll just I'll just work on it, and then just refactor it. Okay, we're going to be refactoring it together. We're going to continue from here and refactor it together from our next class. So what I've done today is that I have I've created a state variable in our for me contract. Okay, that, and then make it an entry feed for our constructor, and then pass it here as an entry feed for our constructor, so that when you deploy the contract, it's going to be instantiated and then get the price feed. Okay, so I came to our converter, our price converter. All right, so starting from our price get version, so I made our price feed to be equal to this guy that we deployed here. All right, we've not tested it, it's going to work. All right, that's what we're supposed to do, but time is not now available. All right, so that is one. Then secondly, I came here and changed it. Instead of the inputs, the hard coded contracts, we got our price feed. All right, so same with this guy. All right, we declared it here as our one of our inputs variable. Okay, so that is it. That's what we've done so far. All right, so in our next class we are going to we are going to finish our refactoring we are going to finish refactoring the smart contract, and I'll move on to the next. All right, so that that is it. So before I continue, any question? Any question? But even if you don't understand the refactoring part of this class, it shouldn't bother you at all. That's not what should bother you. But what you should take home into this class is that we're able to, despite the warning that they gave to us, we're able to deploy our contracts, okay, test our contract despite the um Sepolia tests we are getting our price feed from. We're able to fork the test and deploy our Sepolia contracts on our Anvil blockchain. Okay, and so make our Anvil blockchain act like it's Sepolia blockchain. All right, and then secondly, we looked at the Forge test coverage. Okay, we look at test coverage, and what test coverage does is that test coverage analyze our contract and tell us how much of our contract has been tested. All right. And so we can see here that this is how much of our contracts have been tested, and this is how much of our contract have not been tested. Okay. And it's not just testing every contract, it's just not testing one contract, it's testing every contract in the project. All right. So as you can see, now you see that this is a contract that will run, and this is the test result of our contracts. All right. So with this, the amount of this, the number of tests we've written. Okay, this is the gas for this test and all that, all that and all that. So that's what you should get from this class. All right. So the refactoring, we are going to talk about the refactoring in depthly in our next class and other things that are very, very important. Okay. So that's it. Yeah, Chidera, your question.
Sir, please, what's today's topic?
Yes, is that what?
I said, what's today's topic?
Okay, today's topic
Yes, sir.
is still on the Funny Foundry, but it's going to be how am I going to name this one now? I'm coming in. Let me see. I'm looking at our curriculum. See if I can find a name for it. Okay. This is called um Fox testing. All right, this Fox, let's call it Fox testing. But that's the same thing that is in our listing. Fox testing and testing deploy script. Okay, no, just call it Fox testing.
So is it FORK?
Yes, yes, FORK now.
Mr. Sam,
FORKE,
okay.
Fox testing. Tests. Like FORKETSTS. Yeah, let me just type it in the listing. So that's the topic. All right. So in our next class, we are going to talk about testing deploy scripts, um, contracts, refactoring. All right. So this is what we're going to be talking about in our next class. Okay. This is what we're going to be talking about in our next class. Testing deploy scripts and contract refactoring. And then this class we talked about post tests. All right. So I tried to um, start the contract refactoring in this class, but we are going to talk about it deeply in our next class, bit by bit. In our next class, contract refactoring and testing deploy script. Now, testing deploy script is, we have to write a script and then write another code for testing. So if there's going to be any change in our contract, we have to implement that change in our contract, in our test script, and um in our test script and in our test script and our scripts. Okay, in our scripts contract and our test contract. Okay, so what the test deploy script does is that instead of you to do all that, you just implement the the changes in your script contract, and then import your script contract in your test contracts and then deploy it. So you are now testing your scripts. Okay, you're not testing your deploy script rather than testing the contract itself. So you will deploy the contract with your script and then test the deployed contract. You understand? Okay, we're going to talk about it in our next class, and hope we will come early. Last today we started very early. I didn't wait for anybody. We started early, and I hope that's what we're going to be doing in sports. I'm going to be starting very, very early. Why? Because we are behind time. So we're going to be starting very, very early. All right. So that by the end of next week, we should be done with fund me contracts, probably enter another project, and then that's it. Okay. So any other question? All right.